Welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at The Confident Mind by Nate Zinsser. You shared this book with us, and as a learner, we figured you're looking for those key takeaways, the ones that can really make a difference.
Absolutely. The Confident Mind, it really dives deep into like all the psychology of confidence, and we're here to kind of help you not just, understand what confidence is, but how to like actually build it, in your own life.
Okay, I'm with you. Let's unpack this. Zinsser starts off, I think, by making a pretty clear distinction: confidence. It isn't about arrogance or bravado.
Yeah, it's more about this inner certainty, right? This quiet knowing that you can handle whatever like comes your way. Zinsser calls this winning the first victory, and it's about like truly believing your ability to perform even before you even step into the arena.
Right. And he uses the story of Eli Manning, the quarterback. I mean, he faced a ton of doubt early in his career.
A lot of doubt.
Yeah.
But he really worked on his confidence and ended up leading the Giants to a Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, and that seems to like tie in perfectly with this idea of the first victory, believing in yourself, even when others don't. It's almost like that belief just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Definitely. And it's not just about, positive thinking. It's about backing it up with like action and preparation, right? I mean, Manning didn't just wish for a Super Bowl win. He like put in the work, to make it happen.
Right.
And Zinsser, he breaks down this process of building confidence into four key components. He calls them the four pillars of a confident attitude.
Okay. The first pillar is the mind-body connection, and I'll admit I was a bit skeptical, at first, but Zinsser, he backs it up with some really interesting research. I mean, he talks about like studies that show how simply recalling positive memories can actually lower your heart rate,
Yeah.
and while dwelling on negative ones has the opposite effect.
It really highlights like how powerful our thoughts can be. They don't just stay in our heads. They have a direct impact on like our physical state. And if we can control our thoughts, well, we can learn to regulate our body's responses.
Yeah.
Even in high pressure situations.
So it's like our thoughts, they're sending these signals to our body, and those signals can either, help or hinder our performance.
Right.
That makes sense, but then how do we deal with, the inevitable screw-ups? Everyone makes mistakes.
Right. Totally. And that's where the second pillar comes in. Human imperfection. Zinsser argues that, we need to accept that we're going to make mistakes. And it's part of being human. What matters is how we react to those mistakes.
He uses a great example here, Greg Louganis, the Olympic diving champion. Louganis was a self-proclaimed perfectionist.
Yeah, wow.
But he realized that to achieve perfection in his dives, he had to let go of demanding it every single time.
That's interesting. So he just focused so intensely on his training that even if like he didn't, hit the sweet spot on the diving board, his body still knew how to execute like the perfect dive.
Yeah.
He embraced the fact that, things wouldn't always be perfect. And that allowed him to like perform at his best.
So it's like acknowledging that imperfection is part of the process, and not letting it derail you. You almost have to become like comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
But isn't that like counterintuitive? I mean, we're always told to strive for perfection. Wouldn't that make us like more nervous?
That's where the third pillar comes in. And it's a fascinating one. The autonomic nervous system, we tend to think of nervousness as a bad thing, something to be avoided. But Zinsser, he flips that on its head. He says nervousness is actually your friend.
Wait, really? How can that be? I always feel like I perform worse when I'm nervous.
Think about it this way. Nervousness, it's just your body's way of preparing you, for action.
Wow.
It's your nervous system kicking into gear, releasing, adrenaline to give you that extra boost of energy and focus.
So it's like our body is actually trying to help us perform better, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Exactly. Remember Michael Johnson, the Olympic sprinter? He famously said, "When I'm nervous, I'm comfortable."
Wow.
He understood that the feeling of nerves was actually a sign that he was like ready to perform at his best.
It's almost like reframing those feelings. Instead of thinking, "Oh no, I'm nervous," you think, "Okay, my body is getting ready, to show up."
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about harnessing that nervous energy
Yeah.
and using it to your advantage. And finally, we have the fourth pillar, delayed returns of practice. This one's all about patience, and trusting the process.
I think a lot of people, myself included, struggle with this. We want to see results immediately, and when we don't, we get discouraged.
Totally. Zinsser, he digs into the science behind this, explaining how consistent effort leads to mastery, not overnight miracles. He talks about myelin, this substance that insulates our nerve fibers.
Yeah, I remember reading about this. It was a little technical,
Yeah.
but fascinating nonetheless.
Well, imagine myelin as the insulation around electrical wires.
Yeah.
The more you practice a skill, the thicker that insulation gets,
Mm.
making the signals travel faster and smoother. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency.
So it's like building a muscle. You don't get ripped after one workout. It takes time, dedication,
Right.
and consistent effort.
Right, precisely. And the same goes for building confidence. It's not a quick fix. It's a journey of consistent effort and self-belief.
Okay, so we've got these four pillars that provide a foundation for understanding what confidence is and how it works. But how do we actually start building it? Zinsser, he provides some really interesting tools and techniques for that, starting with the idea of building your mental bank account.
Love this concept.
Yeah. Okay. Can you break this down for me? This mental bank account. It sounds a bit abstract.
Sure. Think of it like a real bank account, but instead of money, you're depositing positive experiences, successes, and moments of effort.
So anytime I do something well, or even just try really hard, that's a deposit.
Exactly. And just like a financial bank account, the more deposits you make, the more confident you become. Zinsser even has a specific exercise for this called My Top 10.
Right. He tells you to write down your 10 best moments in your field, whether it's a big win at work or a small personal victory.
Right. It's about intentionally focusing on your successes
Yeah.
and reminding yourself, of your capabilities.
Yeah.
These become your confidence reserves
Yeah.
that you can, draw on when doubts creep in.
Yeah, he also talks about this idea of daily ESP, which stands for effort, success, and progress. It's like making daily deposits into your mental bank account. I love that analogy. It makes it so much easier, to grasp.
Yeah. Each day you take a moment to identify moments of effort, success, and progress,
Yeah.
no matter how small. And you write these down,
Yeah.
to build this tangible record of your accomplishments.
Yeah. I can see how that would be really powerful, especially
Right.
for someone who tends to focus on their mistakes or their shortcomings.
For sure. It's about shifting your perspective, right? From what you haven't done to what you have accomplished, no matter how small. These consistent positive reinforcements, they really start to add up.
Okay, so we're building up this mental bank account, focusing on the positive. But what about, right now in the present moment? Zinsser also talks about the power of affirmations, but not just, any affirmations.
Right. He emphasizes using affirmations that are phrased in the first person
Yeah.
present tense,
Yeah.
clearly stating your desired state. It's about aligning your thoughts with your goals.
He shares the story of Alessandra Ross, an 800-meter runner. She wanted to break the 2-minute mark. So
Oh.
every time she walked through a doorway, she'd affirm, "I run a 1.56800."
Wow.
And she eventually achieved that goal.
That's amazing. It's like training your mind to believe in the possibility,
Yeah.
before it becomes a reality. And Zinsser, he provides several methods to, make these frequent deposits of positive affirmations.
Like the notebook nightcap, where you write affirmations before bed, or the open doorway technique,
Hmm.
using doorways as triggers. He also talks about creating a personalized macro affirmation script,
Yeah.
to listen to regularly.
Right. These are all about consistently reinforcing, positive beliefs to shift your mindset and boost your confidence. It's like choosing the soundtrack, for your own success story.
That's such a great way to put it. It's not just about hoping for the best. It's about actively shaping your thoughts and beliefs
Yeah.
to create the outcome you want.
Exactly. And that brings us to the next exciting piece of this confidence puzzle, harnessing the power of the future, of envisioning success.
Oh, yes. This is where it gets really, really cool. Zinsser talks about how using our imagination can actually impact our real-world performance.
Yeah, he dives into the neuroscience behind it, explaining that vividly imagining yourself succeeding, it activates the same neural pathways as physical practice.
So it's like our brain doesn't know the difference between actually doing something and vividly imagining it.
That's right. And the more detailed and vivid your visualizations, the more powerful the impact. He used the example of Jerry Ingles, an Olympic hammer thrower, who meticulously used visualization to refine his technique.
Yeah, he'd mentally rehearse every step of the throw, and it translated to real world improvements. It's like creating a mental blueprint for success, and then training your brain and body to follow it.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the more confident you become in your ability to execute it in real life.
Yeah. Okay. So we've laid the groundwork, built up our confidence, even tapped into the power of the future. But life isn't always smooth sailing, you know? What happens when things go wrong? How do we protect, that hard-earned confidence when we inevitably face setbacks?
That's a great question. And Zinsser, he devotes a whole section to, safeguarding your mental bank account.
Because let's be real, everyone experiences setbacks, right? I mean, it's part of life, but how we handle those setbacks, that can make all the difference in our confidence levels.
Absolutely. And Zinsser, he provides some really powerful strategies for dealing with those inevitable bumps in the road.
Yep.
He emphasizes treating mistakes as temporary,
Yep, it did.
and non-representative.
So instead of saying I'm a failure, you say, okay, I messed up this time, but it doesn't mean I'm going to mess up every time. It's about keeping things, in perspective.
He also stresses the importance of challenging negative self-talk. We all have that inner critic, that voice that tells us we're not good enough. But Zinsser, he provides techniques to counter those negative thoughts with positive, affirming statements.
It's like getting in the last word, with that inner critic. But sometimes those negative thoughts, they feel so ingrained, so real. How do you actually change that internal dialogue?
Well, Zinsser, he dives into the science of explanatory style, which is, how we explain the causes of events, particularly, negative ones. He highlights research by Martin Seligman, who found that optimists tend to attribute setbacks to external factors.
So instead of saying I failed because I'm stupid, they'd say I didn't succeed this time because the circumstances were really challenging. It's like taking a more objective view, of the situation.
Exactly. And he found that, pessimists, on the other hand, they tend to internalize setbacks.
Yeah.
Blaming themselves for everything that goes wrong. This can really erode your confidence, over time.
So it's about like consciously choosing a more optimistic explanatory style, focusing on the things you can control and learning from the things you can't. I love this concept of the shooter's mentality that Zinsser introduces.
Yeah.
It's almost like having amnesia for your misses.
Right. He talks about how top performers, like Tiger Woods, they treat each miss as making the next successful shot more likely. They don't, dwell on the past. They focus on the present moment and the next opportunity for success.
It's the unwavering belief that your next effort will be successful. Regardless of past setbacks, I can see how that would be incredibly powerful, in any field, not just sports.
Absolutely. It's about choosing to focus on the positive expectation rather than letting past mistakes derail your confidence.
This is all fantastic. But what about those deep-seated, limiting beliefs that can sabotage our confidence, the I'm not good enough or I'll never be able to do that, kind of thoughts. They can really hold us back.
I know. Zinsser, he tackles this head on, encouraging us to actively challenge those limiting beliefs. He identifies, common ones we often accept as truths, like logic is always the answer, or always be your own harshest critic.
Yeah.
These can stifle creativity, risk-taking, and ultimately confidence.
So it's about questioning those assumptions, those default settings in our minds that might be holding us back. But what do we replace them with?
He offers alternative, more empowering beliefs. Things like embracing risk.
Yeah.
Trusting your intuition, and celebrating your uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
He's the example of Deion Sanders, the football player, known for his flamboyant style and supreme confidence.
Right. Sanders, he genuinely believed every ball thrown his way was meant for him. Wow.
And while it might seem illogical, that belief fueled his incredible performance. He
Wow.
defied the conventional wisdom and created his own rules for success.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sincer's point is that, we have the power to choose our beliefs. We don't have to accept the limiting ones passed down to us. We can consciously choose beliefs that empower us and fuel our confidence.
That's a powerful takeaway. It's about recognizing that our thoughts and beliefs are not set in stone. We have the power to examine them, challenge them, and ultimately, choose the ones that will serve us best.
Exactly. And that brings us to the exciting part. Taking all of this knowledge and applying it in the real world, in those moments when it really matters.
Okay, so we've built up our confidence, learned how to protect it, and even challenge those limiting beliefs. But how do we actually like take it into the arena, that moment when it's time to perform? Zinsser provides this clear and practical guide for that too, starting with a pre-game routine he calls CBA: conviction, breathing, and attention. It's designed to help you enter any any performance situation with a confident mindset.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through this CBA routine. What does each step involve?
So conviction is about reviewing your mental bank account, reminding yourself of your strengths, your past successes, and all the reasons you believe in yourself.
It's like giving yourself a pep talk, highlighting all the evidence that you're capable and ready to succeed. It seems like it would be especially helpful, for those moments when doubts start to creep in.
Absolutely. Then comes breathing, which uses, deep controlled breaths to settle your nerves and focus your attention.
Yeah, I've heard about the power of, deep breathing for calming anxiety. But how does it actually work?
Well, there's a physiological basis for it.
Mm.
Deep breathing, it helps to, calm your nervous system, which in turn reduces anxiety and enhances focus. It's like hitting the reset button, on your stress response.
So it's simple but powerful technique that anyone can use to regulate their mental and physical state. I like that it's something tangible you can do right in the moment. And what about attention, the final step in the CBA routine? What does that entail?
This is all about shifting your focus from the outcome to the task at hand.
Yeah.
Being present in the moment
Mhm.
and trusting your training. It's about letting go of the pressure to perform perfectly and focusing on the process, on what you can control.
Zinsser uses a great analogy here. He talks about a basketball player lining up for a free throw. Instead of worrying about making the shot, they should focus on their pre-shot routine.
Yeah.
The feel of the ball, the mechanics of their shot. By focusing on the process, they actually increase their chances of a successful outcome.
Exactly. It's about getting out of your head and into your body, trusting your instincts, and letting go of that outcome-based pressure.
He provides several examples of athletes using this CBA routine, to their advantage, but I can see how it would be, beneficial in any field. A musician might visualize their performance, a surgeon might mentally rehearse a procedure, a speaker might focus on their key talking points.
It's a versatile framework, that can be adapted to any performance situation. It's about having this structured approach to help you enter the arena with a confident mindset.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the pregame preparation. Zinsser also talks about maintaining confidence during the performance itself.
Right, because things don't always go according to plan. There are bound to be unexpected challenges or moments of doubt. How do we stay confident, when those inevitable bumps in the road, appear?
Zinsser suggests using what he calls a pre-shot routine, a consistent sequence of actions that helps you refocus and reset, between moments of action, especially after a mistake or a setback.
So it's like, having a mini version of the CBA routine that you can, access throughout the performance to keep your confidence levels high and your focus sharp.
Right. He gives the example of, a golfer stepping back from a putt, taking a deep breath, visualizing the the ball going in, and then stepping back up to take the shot. It's about interrupting negative momentum and getting back on track.
This idea of a pre-shot routine, it could be applied to so many different fields. A musician might, pause between pieces to reset their breathing and focus. A surgeon might take a moment to recenter themselves, before a critical procedure. A speaker might take a sip of water, and gather their thoughts before addressing a tough question.
Right. It's about having a system in place to regain your composure
Hmm.
and confidence, regardless of what's happening around you. And a key part of any pre-shot routine, according to Zinsser, is deliberate breathing.
Yeah, he dedicates a whole section to the importance of, breathing for regulating your nervous system and enhancing focus. It's something we often take for granted, but it's such a powerful tool for managing our mental and physical state.
He explains that breathing is unique because it's both conscious and unconscious. We can control it, but it also happens automatically, and that gives us a powerful way to influence both our body and our mind.
He highlights the importance of deep diaphragmatic breathing, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, our body's relaxation response. This helps counteract stress and anxiety,
Yeah.
promoting calmness and clarity.
And there's a lot of science to back this up. Studies have shown that deep breathing can lower your heart rate, reduce your blood pressure, and decrease levels of stress hormones. It's simple but incredibly effective for managing performance anxiety and enhancing focus.
It's like having a built-in stress reliever, that we can access anytime, anywhere. And it seems like it would work like synergistically with the other techniques Zinsser, discusses, like visualization and positive self-talk.
Absolutely. And Zinsser, he also emphasizes the importance of focusing your attention on the task, not the outcome. He argues that we often get caught up worrying about the results.
Yeah.
Which can hinder our performance.
Yeah, it's that classic paralysis by analysis scenario. We overthink things, get in our own heads and end up, performing worse than we're capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He encourages us to shift our attention to the process, to the things we can control. In the moment, he uses the analogy of a mountain climber. Instead of focusing on reaching the summit, they need to focus on each individual step, each handhold, each placement of their foot.
It's about breaking down the task into manageable chunks and focusing on executing each one with, precision and intention.
Right.
By doing so, you increase your chances of reaching that ultimate goal, whatever it may be.
Exactly. And Zinsser, he also provides, really useful guidance on conducting a post-performance review, which he calls the after-action review, or AAR.
Oh, I love the idea of a post-performance review. It's something athletes do all the time, but I think it can be valuable, in any field. It's about taking the time to reflect on your performance, both the good and the bad,
Yeah.
and extracting, valuable lessons that you can apply to future performances.
Yes. He breaks it down into three key questions. What?
Yeah.
So what? Now what?
Right.
It's a structured way to analyze your performance and turn it into a learning opportunity, regardless of the outcome.
The what question is about gathering data. What actually happened? The so what is about analyzing that data and drawing conclusions, and the now what is about turning those insights into action.
Right. It's a simple but powerful framework for continuous learning and improvement. And Zinsser encourages us to be kind to ourselves during this process. It's not about beating ourselves up for mistakes. It's about, objective analysis, identifying areas for improvement, and celebrating our successes.
He provides examples of how athletes use the AAR, to improve their game. But again, I think this process can be used in any field. A musician might analyze their last concert. A surgeon might review a recent operation. A business leader might assess a recent presentation.
Right. It's a valuable tool for anyone who wants to continuously learn, grow and enhance their performance.
This has been an incredibly insightful dive into the first half of The Confident Mind. We've learned about, the 4 pillars of confidence, how to build our mental bank account, and the importance of visualization and positive self-talk.
We've also explored strategies for, protecting our confidence when we face setbacks, and even how to challenge those deep-seated limiting beliefs that can hold us back.
And we've learned about, practical tools like the CBA routine and the after action review that we can use to enhance our performance and continue growing.
It's a lot to take in, but I think the key takeaway here is that the confidence is not some magical trait that some people have and others don't. It's a skill that can be learned and developed through consistent effort and practice.
Zinsser gives us the tools and the roadmap. It's up to us to put them to work in our own lives.
And we're just getting started. In the next part of this deep dive, we'll explore some more advanced techniques for mastering your mental game and achieving, unshakable confidence.
Stay tuned. There's so much more to uncover.
Definitely. Welcome back. We covered a lot of ground, the first half of our deep dive into the confident mind, but Zinsser, he doesn't stop there. He goes on to explore even more nuanced and practical strategies for mastering your mental game in those crucial performance moments.
Yeah, you mentioned something at the end of the last part about shifting from saver to spender and from workhorse to racehorse. And I have to admit, those analogies really piqued my curiosity.
It's such a brilliant way to frame it. So many of us, especially in high pressure situations, we approach those moments like we need to conserve our energy, play it safe, and avoid making any mistakes. We become savers.
It's like we're so worried about messing up that we end up holding ourselves back, not allowing ourselves to fully shine.
Exactly. But Zinsser, he argues that this mindset, it's actually counterproductive. He says you've put in the work. You've built up your mental bank account, and now it's time to spend that confidence. It's time to unleash your full potential, to become the spender rather than the saver.
So instead of cautiously tiptoeing into the arena, you charge in like a racehorse, ready to give it your all, knowing you have the resources to handle whatever comes your way.
Precisely. He uses a fantastic example from hockey. Danny Briere, he was facing this critical shootout that would determine whether his team made the playoffs, and the pressure was immense.
Oh, I can only imagine. That's a lot riding on one player's shoulders.
Right. Initially, he was overwhelmed by the pressure,
Yeah.
feeling like he had to play it safe. But then he made this conscious decision, to shift his mindset. He told himself, this moment was meant for me.
Wow, what a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
From fear and hesitation to a sense of ownership and opportunity.
And guess what? He scored, leading his team to victory.
Yeah.
It shows how a simple shift in perspective can have like a profound impact on your performance.
It's a great reminder that we have a choice in how we approach these
Right.
high pressure moments. We can let fear hold us back, or we can embrace the challenge and unleash our full potential.
And this idea of getting out of our heads and into our senses, it's another crucial aspect of performing at our best. Overthinking, it can be a real killer, of confidence and performance.
Oh, I know this all too well. It's like that inner critic starts chattering away, second guessing every move, and before you know it, you're completely paralyzed.
Zinsser uses the example of Lieutenant Anthony Randall. He was facing this critical evaluation at Ranger School. He was exhausted, physically and mentally depleted, and this was his last chance, to pass.
So the pressure was definitely on.
Right, but instead of getting caught up in the pressure, the doubts and the potential consequences of failure, you know, he made a conscious decision to focus on his senses, on the immediate tasks, at hand.
It's like that saying, get out of your mind and into your body. When we can, quiet that mental chatter and focus on the present moment, we often perform at our best.
And he nailed it. He executed the mission flawlessly, proving that even in the most demanding circumstances, shifting your focus to the present moment can make all the difference.
So it's about training ourselves to become more mindful,
Well,
more present and less caught up in the anxieties of our thoughts. But how do we actually do that? It's easier said than done, right?
Zinsser emphasizes the importance of developing routines, that help you get into that flow state, that mind without thinking, as he calls it.
He talks about the importance of having a pre-shot routine, a consistent sequence of actions that helps you, reset and refocus between moments of action. It could be
Yeah.
a physical action, a mental cue, or a combination of both.
Exactly. He gives the example of a basketball player, stepping back from the free throw line, taking a deep breath, bouncing the ball 3 times, and then, shooting. That routine helps them block out distractions, settle their nerves, and focus on the task at hand.
I can see how that would be incredibly helpful, Not just in sports, but in any field. A musician might have a routine they use before starting, a piece. A surgeon might have a specific sequence they go through before an operation. It's about finding what works for you, and consistently using it to access that state of calm focus,
Mhm.
that zone where you perform at your best.
Right, Ceci. And you mentioned breathing earlier, and it's no coincidence that Zinsser he dedicates a whole section to the importance of breathing for regulating your nervous system and enhancing focus. It's such a fundamental yet often overlooked aspect of performance.
He talks about how breathing is unique in that it's both conscious and unconscious. We can control it, but it also happens automatically.
Yeah.
And that gives us a powerful way to influence both our physical and mental states, like having, this built-in regulator for our entire system.
He highlights the importance of deep diaphragmatic breathing, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, our body's relaxation response. This helps counteract the effects of stress and anxiety, promoting calmness and clarity.
And there's a lot of, scientific evidence to support this. Studies have shown that deep breathing can lower, heart rate, reduce blood pressure, and decrease levels of stress hormones. It's simple but incredibly effective for managing performance anxiety and enhancing focus.
And you're right, it works synergistically.
Yeah.
With other techniques like visualization and positive self-talk. It's like creating a whole ecosystem,
Yeah.
of confidence boosting practices
Yeah.
that work together to support you in those crucial moments.
It's fascinating how all of these, seemingly disparate elements, our thoughts, our breath, our physical actions,
Mm.
all come together to influence our performance.
And Zinsser brings it, all together beautifully. He shows us how to harness the power of our minds and bodies to achieve our full potential.
So we've talked about, the pregame routine, the importance of breathing and getting out of our heads and into our senses. But what about after the performance? Is that where the learning, really happens?
You're absolutely right. Zinsser, he doesn't stop at the performance itself. He emphasizes the importance of a post-performance review, which he calls the after-action review, or AAR.
I love the idea of a post-performance review. It's something athletes do all the time, but I think it can be valuable in any field. It's about taking the time to reflect on your performance, both the good and the bad, and extracting, valuable lessons that you can apply to future performances.
He breaks it down into 3 key questions. What? So what? Now what? It's a structured way to analyze your performance and turn it into a learning opportunity, regardless of the outcome.
The what question is about gathering data. What
Uh,
actually happened, during the performance? What were the key moments, the turning points, the successes and the setbacks? It's about creating, this objective account of what transpired.
the so what question. It's where you street to analyze that data. What conclusions can you draw from what happened? What patterns do you notice? What insights can you glean from your performance?
And the now what question is about turning those insights into action. What specific steps, will you take to improve, based on what you've learned? What adjustments will you make? What new strategies will you implement?
It's about turning reflection into action, using each performance, whether successful or not, as a stepping stone to improvement.
I can see how this would be, incredibly valuable. Not just for athletes, but for anyone who wants to, continuously learn, grow, and improve their craft. A musician could use it to analyze their last concert. A surgeon could use it to review a recent operation. A a business leader might assess a recent, presentation?
Exactly. It's a universal tool, for growth and development. And Zinsser, he encourages us to be kind to ourselves
Yeah.
during this process. It's not about beating ourselves up for mistakes. It's about, objective analysis, identifying areas for improvement and celebrating our successes.
It's about approaching the whole process with curiosity and a growth mindset rather than, judgment and self-criticism. I think that's so important, especially when it comes to building confidence. If we're constantly beating ourselves up for our mistakes, it's going to be really hard to believe in ourselves and our abilities.
You're absolutely right. And Zinsser, he ends this section of the book with two powerful anecdotes that highlight the power of choosing your thoughts and believing in yourself, even when things get tough.
Oh, I love a good story. What are these anecdotes about?
The first one is about this bus driver Zinsser met in New Orleans, who had this incredibly positive outlook on life,
Huh?
despite facing challenges and setbacks. And when Zinsser asked him how he managed to stay so positive, the bus driver simply said, "Change your mind."
Wow, that's so simple yet so profound. It's a reminder that we have far more control over, our thoughts and feelings than we often realize.
Yeah.
We can choose to dwell on the negative or we can choose to focus on the positive.
Exactly. And the second anecdote is about a general Zinsser worked with who emphasized that faith takes practice.
That's interesting. I usually think of faith as something you either have or you don't. But to say that it takes practice suggests that it's something you can, develop and cultivate like a muscle.
And that's exactly how Zinsser interprets it. He realized that, this applied directly to confidence as well. It's not something that just appears. It's something you build through conscious effort and practice.
It's like any other skill, the more you practice, the better you become. And just like faith can move mountains,
Yeah.
so too can confidence unlock our full potential.
Those two anecdotes, they really encapsulate the core message, of this section of the book. Confidence is a choice, and it's a skill that can be learned and developed through practice. It's not some magical trait reserved for a select few. It's something we could all, cultivate within ourselves.
Zinsser has provided us with such a rich and comprehensive toolkit for mastering our mental game, from understanding the psychology of confidence to developing practical strategies for building, protecting and applying it, in our lives. It's all here in the confident mind.
And for learners like you, it's about taking this knowledge and putting it into practice. Experiment with the techniques that resonate with you, adapt them to your own unique circumstances and see what works best.
Confidence is a journey, not a destination,
Yeah.
It's about continuous growth, intentional effort, and a commitment to mastering your mental game. But it's also about being kind to ourselves along the way, recognizing that setbacks are inevitable and that learning from our mistakes, is an essential part of the process.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Zinsser's book provides a roadmap, and we're here to guide you through it.
But now we're approaching the home stretch, of our deep dive into the confident mind, and Zinsser, he wraps things up by offering some final insights and tools that are incredibly powerful and actionable.
He introduces a final set of frameworks and,
Yeah.
and techniques, designed to help us navigate the challenges of life and performance with even greater, confidence and resilience. And I think you'll find these particularly valuable. You continue on your own journey of personal growth.
I'm ready. Let's dive into this final chapter of the confident mind and see what gems Zinsser has in store for us. We've explored so many practical strategies, for building and protecting confidence. But now I'm curious. What does Zinsser say about maintaining that confidence, in the long run? How do we make it Right.
Sustainable. That's a great question. And it's something Zinsser addresses directly in this final section. He introduces the concept of, developing what he calls 18-inch games.
18-inch games. That sounds intriguing, but I have no idea what it means.
It's about, focusing on what you can directly control. you know, on the small incremental actions that ultimately lead to big results.
Mm-hmm.
Zinsser uses the analogy of a golfer who can't control whether they sink a 30-foot putt, but they can control how they approach each 18-inch putt,
Yeah.
you know, the distance between the ball and the hole.
So instead of getting overwhelmed by, the enormity of the task, you break it down into, smaller, more manageable pieces that you can actually control and influence. It's about focusing on the process, not the outcome.
Exactly. And Zinsser argues that by consistently winning those 18-inch games, those small battles, you build momentum, confidence, and ultimately, achieve the larger goals that once seemed daunting.
I can see how that would be incredibly powerful,
Mhm.
Instead of feeling like paralyzed by the pressure of a huge goal, you focus on the immediate actions you can take,
Right.
right now to to move yourself closer to it.
He also emphasizes the importance of cultivating what he calls a neutral mind, which is about approaching challenges with this calm, you know,
Hmm.
objective and non-judgmental perspective.
This sounds a lot like mindfulness, the practice of being present in the moment,
Oh.
without judgment.
It's very similar. Zinsser argues that when we can, detach from our emotional reactions to setbacks and challenges, we can think more clearly,
Yeah.
make better decisions and ultimately perform at our best.
He talks about how a neutral mind it allows you to observe your thoughts and feelings without getting, swept away by them. It's about creating space between stimulus and response, which
Yeah.
which gives you more control over, your actions and reactions.
It's like being, the observer of your own mind rather than being, controlled by it. And this ability to detach from the emotional roller coaster, of wins and losses, it's crucial for maintaining consistent confidence and performance.
Zinsser provides some practical techniques, for cultivating a neutral mind, including mindfulness practices, meditation, and even, just taking a few deep breaths to recenter yourself in the moment.
And he emphasizes that it's a skill that takes practice, just like any other. The more you practice observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment,
Hmm.
the better you become at navigating challenges
Yeah.
with grace and composure.
He also talks about the importance of, developing what he calls toughness. But this isn't about, physical strength or aggression. It's about mental resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity.
He describes toughness as this combination of confidence, optimism, and determination. It's about having the belief in yourself to overcome challenges, the hope that things will ultimately work out, and the willpower to keep going even when things get tough.
He talks about how tough people they don't avoid challenges,
Yeah.
they embrace them as opportunities for growth. They see setbacks as temporary, and use them as fuel to learn and improve.
Zinsser provides a powerful example of toughness in the story of Bethany Hamilton, the surfer who lost her arm in a shark attack at the age of 13.
Right.
Despite this traumatic experience, she returned to surfing just a month later
Hmm.
and went on to become, a world-class professional surfer.
Her story, it's a testament to, the human spirit's incredible resilience
Huh.
and the power of choosing to focus on, what's possible, even in the face of unimaginable adversity.
Zinsser argues that we all have,
Yeah.
this capacity for toughness within us. It's not about being fearless, or invincible. It's about developing the mental and emotional strength to face challenges head on and emerge stronger, on the other side.
This idea of toughness really resonates with me.
Hmm.
It's not about denying our feelings or pretending that things are easy. It's about acknowledging, the difficulty and choosing to persevere anyway. It's
Yeah.
about having that inner strength to keep going, even when we want to give up.
And Zinsser provides, some concrete strategies for developing toughness, including, setting challenging goals, practicing self-discipline, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and developing a positive self-talk routine.
It's about, making a conscious choice to cultivate those qualities that will support you, through the inevitable ups and downs of life.
And finally, Zinsser, he leaves us with a powerful reminder that confidence is not just about, individual achievement. It's also about, using our talents and abilities to make a positive impact on the world.
He encourages us to find our, our why, our purpose, the driving force behind our actions. When we connect our confidence to something bigger than ourselves, it becomes even more powerful and meaningful.
He talks about how true confidence is not about, ego or self-promotion. It's
Hmm.
about, you know, using your gifts to make a difference, to contribute to something larger than yourself.
And that's a beautiful message to end on. It's a reminder that confidence, it's not just about achieving, our own goals. It's about using our strengths to uplift others, to make the world a better place.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the confident mind. You know, it's been quite a journey exploring these powerful concepts and techniques from the four pillars of confidence to building a mental bank account, from envisioning success to developing toughness.
We've covered so much ground, and I feel like I've gained, this whole new perspective on what confidence really is,
Yeah.
and how to cultivate it, in my own life.
For learners like you, it's about taking this knowledge and putting it into practice. Experiment with the techniques that resonate with you. Adapt them to your own, unique circumstances, and see what works best.
Confidence is a journey, not a destination,
Yeah.
It's about continuous growth, intentional effort, and a commitment to mastering your mental game. But it's also about being kind to ourselves along the way, recognizing that setbacks are inevitable and that learning from our mistakes is an essential part of the process.
So as you go forward, I want to leave you with this thought-provoking question. What is one small step you can take today, to start building your confidence muscle?
Think about it, write it down, and take action. Remember, confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build, one step at a time.
That's it for this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful, empowering, and most importantly, actionable.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the power of your own confident mind.